Yeah. You mentioned the buzzword lately, which is entrepreneurs, been thrown around quite frequently now, like with free will. So, could you define entrepreneur as someone who is a seasoned businessman?
Yeah, I think it's funny. It's changed for me over the years, right? Like when I first started, it was like just somebody I thought who ran a business, but I think an entrepreneur really is like, I mean, if you could say there's like failed entrepreneurs and successful entrepreneurs, but I think like if you were to like even collectively put them together and say what is it's someone that's willing to try to better or provide services or things to people in a more cost effective way or in a better way, and is willing to kind of go through that process, right? That it's kind of like I would say capital-esque like mindset, if you will. But does that make sense? I mean,
Yeah, that actually does make a lot of sense. I asked you more because kind of with the rise of things like TikTok and Instagram and having to show off, it kind of seems like everyone's an entrepreneur. So I wanted to pose the question to someone who quite literally is an entrepreneur, so they could give what the real definition of it is, rather than someone selling ebooks online.
yeah, and I like I well I that's a fair point. I would say a real entrepreneur. If you were to ask me like what a now, I kind of gave you like a vague def, but if I was to say like what a real entrepreneur, like a successful entrepreneur, is someone that doesn't give up and is willing to see through to their goal, right? If depending on what their goals are, or things like that. But it's someone that's really that has thick skin and not willing to give up easily. You know.
Yeah. So it's quite obvious that you're American, and seems to be that Americans more tend more to go for that definition that you're thinking about, that you're talking about, kind of going for, if they have an idea that could change the world, they go for it instead of, I know a lot in the UK and in other European countries, it's almost looked at, it's almost looked at with a big shadow if you decide to do that, if you decide to go against the grain and do something other than a basic corporate job, really. And it's quite cool being on Twitter and stuff, talking to people who are all from these different countries. Because I spoke to Kai Career yesterday, and he was talking about how he runs a podcast with one of his friends, and in Finland it blew up so much because so many people in Finland wanted to do it, they just didn't have the confidence to do it. So the fact that he was able to do it, it almost made him an idol to those people in Finland. Whereas I think if someone in the UK done it, it would kind of be looked down on. It would kind of be torn apart. And then and if you look on the other side in America, if it was brought up in a conversation, it'd always be like people would encourage you to do it. They'd always push you to do it. They always make you feel like you're stupid if you didn't go for it.
Yeah, yeah. No, I know what you mean. I think it's all good points, and I would even add like for me, um, there's a lot of ways to start a business. I used to think it was really only kind of one where it's like you had to build some crazy world changing tech, but I think it's just kind of a spectrum. You can start like you don't actually have to be technical. Maybe you just know business, or maybe you know a certain niche or certain things like that. Um, but I'm like I've noticed people that are super smart in tech that have started businesses that are successful, but I've also like know people that are like have no idea what tech is but have a successful like tech startup. Like it's kind of crazy like when you think of it like that. But I think I don't know why I'm saying that, but I think that's important or relevant to the point that you made.